says insufficient permissions, but I'm gonna go on and do it. Public service announcement. Nobody wants you to be authentic. I'm gonna say it again. Public service announcement. Nobody wants you to be authentic. I have one of the most important messages that I want to share with you, and um, my own personal journey of not operating in the authentic version of me is the reason why I haven't shared more about this. Um, I shared a video a while back, and the focus of it was the battle to be authentic is one of the earliest battles that you will ever face. And the reason why it's such a battle is because we're born, we got families, we got parents, and you may say you want to be, a firefighter. You may say you want to be an educator. You want to be whatever it is you want to be. And some, families may encourage you to go, follow your dreams, go after, everything that you want. Um, but a lot of people have the experience of things that they wanted. It wasn't reciprocated, or it wasn't encouraged. Um, it wasn't met with the energy as if like this is something that I fully support. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of influential people in our lives that really want us to go down a path in life that they agree with, and that is why the battle begins early. Nobody, nobody wants you to be authentic, and the reason why it's so important for me to share this message is because most people lose this battle. Most people lose it. I've lost this battle many times. And this video tonight is a step closer to me winning the battle of being authentic. Because a major reason why I don't do more videos or things like that is because the authentic version of me is not my online persona. I show up as a especially online or in videos. Most of those things are me, whether I'm speaking at a conference or working with a team, a leadership group, whatever it may be. It's very much so a professional public persona, but public service announcement, that's not the real me. It's a version of me, but if you were to ask parents, um, my wife, family, brothers, sisters, closest friends, describe Daniel in a few words. And the videos that you see of me is not going to be the the description that they give you. And so what happens at times when I want to show up online, I don't do a lot of videos and lives like that as much as I should because I don't feel like I can truly be myself. And I oftentimes feel like if like the true version of me shows up, is that good for business or is that bad for business? Like if I have to be the professional version of myself, because if I'm not the professional version of myself, maybe there's a decline in business, or maybe someone will make the decision that they don't want to work with my consulting company, or they want to move in a different direction. And so therefore, instead of choosing authenticity, I choose to fit in. I choose the route and the option of least resistance. Is it my desire? Absolutely not. But it's what's necessary. And a lot of times we choose the option of what's necessary We choose the option of least resistance. We choose the option of the least friction, and because we've seen what happens when we don't choose that option. Why do you code switch? Do you have you know a professional voice when you're at work? Have you ever answered the phone on a work call when you're around family and they looked at you like, wait a minute, I didn't know you talk like that? Code switching. Why aren't you that way at work? Why aren't you that way at home? Why aren't those things the same? It's because they don't want you to be authentic. Being authentic causes challenges. Being authentic causes friction. And it causes friction because the way you want to do things is much different than what somebody else desires. And when you show up in the way that you want to show up, like someone else may be trying to like tone that down a little bit because the version of you that they want to show up is the version of you that they accept. It's the version of you that they are comfortable with because nobody wants to be outside of their comfort zones. And when our differences show up in this way, especially when we have someone else is showing up and they desire something else, it's going to cause friction. And it causes friction because the way in which you show up is the way that you believe is the right way. It's the way that you would naturally do. It's how you would do it, in the way in which you feel like leads to success. And if you do something in a way that you feel like leads to success, but I feel like success happens another way, then those two differences are going to end up clashing. And it's a battle of wills. It's a battle of um, can I get you to operate the way that I want you to operate? Can I get you to see the world from my perspective? Can I get you to believe what I believe? And the reason why I started this by saying is that the battle about nobody wants you to be authentic is because when you understand that, you understand why it seems like you're always constantly under attack. Why it always seems like things are hard, things are difficult for you. Why when you show up fully, um, it's met with resistance, and the reason why it's met with resistance is because many people have chosen not to keep fighting for themselves, not to keep fighting the battle of just showing up as myself because um, so many people have given up on this, and it's their mission to convince you that it's not possible for you. It's their mission to make you believe that that search, that there's not really a space that is designed and just fits who you are because they don't feel like there's one for them. And so I asked the question, are you truly showing up authentically? It's kind of what I want to be the question that I you consider in your work life, in your your marriage, your relationship, when you're around your friends, um, when you are you showing up as the authentic version of yourself? And a follow up question is that do you know the authentic version of yourself? I'll say this. I realized that I thought that there's a version of me that a lot of people knew for a long period of time. And if you were to ask me, who is Daniel? My family calls me Junior. Who is this guy? Like I would have shared with you a version of me that was growing up. I was known as like a a class clown type of guy, the one that life of the party type of guy, one that was fun to be around, and that for a long period of time, like was my identity. Is who I believed, I was. But the the identity that I had about myself, a lot of it was formed by what other people affirmed, what other people were okay with, and what other people celebrated. Like there were elements of me that maybe if I showed up in a certain type of way, it wasn't welcome. And so now I become this version of myself that isn't 100% me, but I begin to believe it's me. I give you an example. I it was about 4 years ago where I had this I would say this aha, this um journey that I began going down to where it led me to the shift in our business. It led me to what I'm sharing with you all tonight. It led me to realizing that what I'm sharing with you is one of the most important things um, that a person like needs to understand and needs to continue to fight for. And it's because my wife and I we were traveling home from a speaking engagement, and as we're driving, I share with her. I'm like I don't feel like myself. I felt like something was wrong with me, and this wasn't you know a new discovery. That this wasn't a new feeling that I was having. It was something that I'd been having for a while, and I'm one of those individuals that like I try to figure it out on my own before I'm going to share with anybody else. And as I've been trying to figure it out, I've been trying to figure it out. Like I don't have an answer, and not only do I not have an answer, I feel like it's getting worse. And I'm sharing this with her, and she's asking me like why do you feel this way? And I didn't have an answer. Like I don't know. I have no idea like what's causing this. I have no idea what's going on. But the only thing that I do know is that like something is off. And that understanding of or not the understanding or that the journey of trying to figure out exactly like what it was led me to diving deeper, like trying to figure out, okay, what do I want, what do I need, and we work with a lot of leaders and teams, doing behavioral assessments, and I found out about this assessment that I end up taking, and one element of it talks about it's a disc assessment, and it allows you to understand how you prefer things to be done in these four areas, and one of the major areas that I show up is I'm a high I. And it means like you like to be connected. You like to interact with people. Like that's something um, that you kind of lead by. And anybody that knows me, of that, I'm always the one that if we're talking, I'm going to talk too long. My wife is always ready to leave before I am, and so because I enjoy that. During the season, it was a very very busy season, in our lives, and I mean I'm just working. I'm constantly working, and there's literally no time for anything else. Sometimes for friends, it's just like I wake up, I work at night, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm working, and I'm doing what needs to be done. And I ask myself this question: are you doing like is your life designed around what like needs to be done, or is your life designed around what you need? Okay, is my is in I want you to ask yourself this question: is your life designed around what needs to get done, or is it designed around what you actually need? Like if If the world was centered around you and you woke up tomorrow, every decision that you made, you didn't have to consider anyone else. Like you literally had the keys to the life that you desired. You had unlimited wishes and you could make whatever happen. Would you change anything about your work environment? Would you change anything about your relationship that you're in? Would you do anything differently? And if the answer to that question is yes, then the reality is that you have begun to design your life not around authenticity, but around obligations. You've begun to design your life around the needs of others versus what you need. And you give and you give and give to these things, but do you ever feel like what you need and what you desire that it's there and that you're receiving that? And what I realize is that that is my issue. I didn't know, number one, I wasn't aware that I had this need or this was something that it's connection for me is not a nice to have. It's a must have. If I don't feel like I'm connected, if I don't feel like the people that I love, the people that I enjoy being around, like there's no time for that. Like I just feel off. I want you to think about like a fish in water. A fish in water is just swimming around there. It's in its natural environment, and someone one day decided they were going to go fishing, and they hook it and then they bring it out of water. At that very moment that it hits the air, it probably its gills like this is not catered to me, and in the air is not its natural environment, and that fish has begun its journey of not only adapting, but it cannot thrive, it cannot survive very long outside of its natural environment. And for many of us, you're you're not in your natural environment. You're not in an environment that is catered and set up in order for you to succeed. You feel it, you know it, you experience it, but you may not be able just to identify exactly what it is. And that's the battle. That's the battle that is right there. Not only do you have the battle of, kind of like between people that you're around and how you all can clash at times because um, we all want to show up in a way, but when other people show up, like you can kind of like feel the tension that's going on. There's somebody probably that you work with that you have battles with. There's probably some things that you in your spouse like you continue to argue about, and you wonder why do we keep having these arguments about the same things because there's something that you desire that is the complete opposite of their desires. You can apologize about it, but the reality is that you're more than likely going to have to apologize again because it's what you prefer, it's what you desire, it's what you're fighting for. And what you're fighting for is at odds with what that person is fighting for as well. And so you have disagreements, right? You're not in agreement, so you'll disagree. And a lot of us choose, well, we can just agree to disagree. You have now chosen conflict. You've now chosen a life of friction, a life of battles. And the reality is that if you are unaware that these things are going on, man, it's challenging. You can leave the job, new environment, same things show up there. Why? Because you show up there. Same people that were at the previous job, there's going to be some people just like that at a new job. You can be married and you can decide, you know what, this marriage isn't working out. I'm going to go get me one. Guess what? If you do not understand specifically like the challenges that you had in that previous one, and you have not resolved my understanding of how I want to show up, and even the challenges that other person had, whether or not creating that environment for you or creating that space to where you felt like you could show up, If you do not understand that that's a need for you, you're going to show up in a new relationship and nothing will be different. And you will continue to look for the right one. And the reality is, there is no right one. What do I mean by that? The right environment is one that you know what you need, and that other person has decided to go on a journey with you to saying, I desire this for you as well. And so when I was in this space, like I'm learning these things about what I need, and now I have language to be able to, articulate and share with my wife. Okay, this is where I'm at, and these are the things that, like, I need to make a priority for myself. And the reality is, like, those things that were a priority for me, they weren't a priority for her. Why? Because she has different needs and she's wired a little bit differently than I am. And so now the way that I want to naturally show up, it's at odds with the way that she naturally wants to show up. And the only way that this changed in a relationship, the only way that this changed in a work environment, is when two people decide that we want to show up and make room for each other. At some point in time, you have to change the way in which you believe, not only about people but also about what is right. Remember earlier I said that the way in which you show up is a way in which you believe is the right way that you should do it. And so when someone shows up differently, it's not just they're showing up differently, they're showing up wrong, right? So we have an environment that we grow up in, and we start developing these beliefs about life, and these beliefs become a part of our identity. It's not only who we feel like we are, but it's kind of how we frame how other people and judge how other people should show up in the world. And so your behavioral patterns are based on those things. Like, you continue to show up the same way because that's the way that you believe that it should be done. That's why you apologize over and over again. And so now, when you show up in that way and you believe that that's the right way that it should be done, and then someone else is doing it in a way that's complete opposite of that, like, those things what create clashes. And so now, if I don't now agree that something is different or something else is also the right way, I'm going to continue doing the same thing. I'll give you an example. My wife, she is someone that she likes doing things the correct way. So I like doing things fast. As a matter of fact, I judge myself based on how many things that I can get accomplished in a day. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I start doing stuff. I start doing it because that's another thing that I've checked off my list. My wife, she doesn't do that. She wakes up and she thinks about the right way to do things. And so now I'm doing things fast, and I begin to look at her not from doing things correctly, but I start to look at the pace in which she does things and start to judge her, because I don't want her to be her. I want her to be a clone of me. I want her to do things the way I desire for them to be done. And if you're honest with yourself, you believe this way too. You want your children, you want your spouse, you want your coworkers, you want your boss, you want your team. You want them to operate based on your cadence and your rhythm. And when they do not, you experience friction. And so now I'm judging her because what? It's not that what she's doing is wrong, but it's not right in my eyes. It's not the way that I would do it. And so in the same way, she's feeling the same way about me. So if I continue to believe that if the right way to do things is to wake up and get as many things as you can get done, there is no space that I will create for my wife to feel like she's welcome, or that she's accepted, or that this is even a space where she can thrive, because that's not how she sees things. When things change is when I realize that I do things fast, but I do things wrong as well. I I make mistakes when I move too fast. There's been some times where I maybe was moving fast and I maybe knocked something over because I'm trying to get things done so quickly. And so what I had to understand is that I not only have to desire to do things right in order for me and her to not only operate in this space, but for us to thrive. I now have to value doing things correctly. Like, I not only have to want things done fast, I have to want them done right. And when I started accepting that and believing in that and saying that that is something that I now desire, that is when my wife was able to show up authentically. When my wife stopped saying that things just have to be done correctly, or we have to cross every T or dot every I, and we got to think about this and make sure we're making the right move. When she said, hey, there are some moments and times where we actually have to speed up that pace in order to adapt to where it's business or life or the things that we have going on. When she made that adjustment to her belief system, she now created a space to where she can see me as well. The biggest challenge that has us battling to where nobody wants you to be authentic is because people aren't really seeing you. And if people can't see you, then the reality is that you can't reach them. The reality is that there is no connection. And so I share all that to say this is that these that revelation which happened personally, like before there was any type of programs or any work that we did with leaders and teams, the things that I was in search for was, man, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's going on? And I found out that the answer was there is nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. Maybe sometimes when you feel like, man, I feel like something is off, there is nothing wrong with you. The thing that is off is that you are not immersed in a world, in an environment that allows for you to show up the way in which you want to show up. And that realization and us working through that were how we birthed and created the things that changed our marriage. And we utilize that same information, those same resources and tools to be able to work with teams and for them to also have those same transformations. I say that to say, like, I'm grateful for that personal journey that I was on and what it allowed me to do. But like, I've also seen like what's also been able to be like transformed in other people's lives. And every time we go somewhere, like we work with a school or work with a district or work with a team, and they're asking me about, can you send this assessment to my husband, or can you send this to my wife, or can you send this? They're asking for information, not just in the work context. They're asking for information about the space to where they do not feel like they're able to be authentic. They're not saying that, but in my mind, I understand because it was the battle that I was facing. I understand it's the battle that we're all going through. They're saying is that there is some friction at home. There is some friction with my friend. There's some friction with my family. And the reality is that if I could just get them to see that this is how I'm wired, and if they could understand me better, man, it would make my life better. How many of you, like, your life would be so much better if people actually understood you, if people actually like got you? I ask you a better question. How much better would your life be if you understood what you needed and you made that a priority for yourself? You have to model and teach people how to treat you. And if you do not know what you need, there is no way for you to show them like what you desire, or even to show them the way in which they should go about doing things. It's so easy for me now to share like what I want to do and what I don't want to do, and we have less conflict in our relationship. And I'm using a lot of relational stuff because, like I said, that was the birth of all this. But it's so easy for me now for us now to not even argue for like long periods of time because we understand the place that it's coming from. I give you this example, and then I transition out of here because I don't want to be here long. My wife is someone who asks a lot of questions. It's like I said with you all, she wants to do things correctly, and so therefore, the inquisitive nature that she has is based on understanding. I'm someone, as a matter of fact, I shared a post a while ago that went crazy on LinkedIn because I said, my ideas, my dreams, when I share them with my wife, that's where they go to die. Because that is that season of time of not understanding, those things that I needed. I'm a high I, like I shared with y'all earlier, which means I like to interact, and I have lots of like ideas as a visionary, and I would go then and share my unprocessed ideas with her. And as an inquisitive person that she is, she would ask a whole lot of questions. Like she would question first, not affirm first. She would like ask a lot of questions, and sometimes these questions, maybe since I hadn't thought it all the way through, like I don't even know the answer to that. And so now I feel like, you know what, man, I gotta go in here and like, the energy, excitement, and enthusiasm I had, like it's gone. And this is something that caused friction. And when I realized that my wife wasn't intentionally trying to, kill my dreams, it was her process of authentically trying to process and receive what she needed in that moment. And so I remember this time where I had a presentation I was doing. I was sharing with her some of the things and some of the changes, and she started asking these questions. And when I realized that she's actually not, um, her inquisitive nature wasn't negative. It was actually a compliment. Well, what do you mean by it was a compliment? As not only an inquisitive person, she's someone that desires like stability and safety. And so when I would come up with new ideas, her questions weren't just questions to be able to process and understand. They were questions that were kind of like trying to hold off and let me know that, hey, we are already doing something that is successful. We're already doing something that I believe in. Why would you want to change what works? Now, I'm someone that likes change. She's someone that likes stability. That's something that we're different, right? I said so now she's questioning to what? To hold firm on her position to like, hey, now I don't want things to change. I want things to stay constant. Like things are great. So why would you change that? Me, I won't change. I'm like, why don't you want things to be different? And that creates what? Friction. And when I realized that her stability is complimenting me in this moment, and I'm missing it because I do not understand this, like where she's coming from. I didn't understand truly, like the depth of really what she was sharing behind her question. What she was really saying is that, babe, I love what you have to offer. What you have to offer provides currently how it is. I've seen the success of it. It currently provides stability for me. My questions are trying to remind you or trying to inform you to like don't change it and keep doing what you're doing. She didn't say that. I was looking for affirmation, but she met me with questions. And when I understood how to not just hear what she said, but to hear like what's underneath that, because I understand how she's wired, I took a question and I realized that it was what? Everything that I desired. What if this same level of understanding is something that like you've been searching for, or it's been something that you need for yourself, which I believe, a lot of this thing when it comes to awareness, it starts with understanding yourself first. Because if I don't understand myself, how can I really understand like truly the depths of someone else? Like if this is something that you've desired because you've like experienced friction, you have, whether it's a close relationship or whether it's at work, and you're like, you want things to be different, you want to show up in a way to where you feel like, man, like if I have an opportunity to succeed, which I think everybody does. Like, I don't think anybody wakes up and says, like, man, I want to fail at my work. I want to fail in my business. Like, I don't want to succeed. Everybody has a desire um, for success or to excel at the things they do. But do you know exactly what you need? Do you know the things that the I'm pretty sure I probably have the thermostat. If you're in Alabama, it's cold here. You probably got it, the heat up right now because like you want it to be warm, and so there's a certain environment in your home that's just right for you. Or maybe when you go to sleep, you want it to be a cool, whatever it is. Like you have an environment that when you are in it, you're like, this feels good. What if you could have that same thermostat experience in your life? To where you knew exactly, or you know exactly what is needed. I need a little bit more of this right now, or I need a bit less of this. If you could share this information with me in this type of way, that's much better. There's less friction that you receive when you no longer are triggered by what people say because you understand where it's coming from. Like, those are the things that we share not only in the leadership teams and groups that we work with, but like we realize like how can we make this same information available for people based on what they've been asking. Like, okay, we had a great time. This was amazing. We got rave reviews with our leadership team. Can you send this to my husband? And we can this translate personally to me because I have some questions that are outside that. And so we wanted to provide this in a way that now allows for no matter where you're at in life or on your journey, how can we make sure that the tools and the resources that truly provide a sense of understanding and clarity that you did not have before, how can we make that available to you? And that's exactly what we did with Bridging the Connection Gap. We took the all the essence of everything that we have been working on, the past 5 years, and said, what exactly can we do to meet people where they are at, to make sure they have what they need, to know where the friction is in their life, where exactly is it coming from, giving it an exact name, because a lot of times the issues that we have, especially with um, um, conflict, is that if you can't name it, you can't fix it. And the magic of what I'm sharing with you all today about conflict and nobody wants you to be authentic is I understand that nobody wants to be authentic, but I also know the reason why they don't want me to be. I understand when I meet somebody very early on, oh, like my interaction with people change because I'm always adapting to what does this person need based on what I understand about their behavior. I share this last thing and I'll get off. But there was I was doing a program at the school, and there was this lady that walked in to was this lady, this teacher that walked in late, and as soon as she walked in, I'm already in the middle of my training, and I've already explained like what we're doing, and she walked in, and I said, everybody, I said, her name is Hillary. I said, I bet you all $1 million I know exactly what her style is. And I went around the room and I shared with them, and she hadn't had her profile and all that stuff set up yet. And I shared with them what it was. And I said, hey, will you open up your assessment and tell me which one is your highest one? And when she said it, the whole room went crazy. How can I not even know someone? I don't know this lady from anybody else. I've never met her before a day in my life. And she walks in the room, and I'm able to identify something about her to say, hey, there's certain things I see right now to where I'm pretty sure this is actually, how you like things to be done in a matter of moments. That same clarity is available. The same awareness that I have about myself, same awareness I have about other people around me, that allow for me to now like be less triggered, be less angered by things. I have less anger problems now because I understand why people do certain things. And I want the same thing for everybody that desires the same thing. And so um, we're in a space right now to where we are taking our program directly to the people because that's what we've been asked for so long. I was on the phone with one of our coaching clients recently, and she was having some issues with. She's in the education space, and she was having some issues with an administrator. And one of the things that she shared with me is that when we first started talking, she was like, "There is no way that like I can continue to work in this school." And by the end of the call, that wasn't a call; it was actually in person. By the end of the conversation, She said, "Oh wow," she was like, "I can do that." And that transformation is exactly what it is that we love to share, with you all. And so, if you all go to Bridget and Connection, yeah, right now we are um, launching and sharing and making available these programs, especially at this particular time, to like um, a group of people that are looking for change and looking for change now. And we have an individual journey for those that uh, if you're a leader and you're looking to like understand, how you're wired in order for you to make sure that you show up and you lead out authentically, because a lot of times the version of us that's showing up is the adaptive version that has become our identity. And I think is not only um a bad space to be in when like you've now settled for a reality that you think is the only one that's available because it's the one that you've gotten comfortable with. It's the one that you believe for such a long period of time is the only possibility. And I don't think as leaders, as just as people, that you have to give up fighting to show up exactly how you are. And so the reason why I did this live tonight is because I am going to be sharing more of this, not only just to share it, but as a as a as a model, in a way that how can you talk about authenticity and run away from it? Like I shared with you all earlier that kind of the reason why I don't go live as much is because like I have like a professional persona online, and the reality is that, yeah, I'm loud. The reality is that I like to have fun. I like to like tell jokes. Like I this is what I really enjoy, and I also love like working with people and doing all that stuff. But like that's not it. And the biggest challenge for me was that, man, like if I don't feel like showing up online is the full version of me, then yo, like that's an issue. And it's an issue because I was I was I I got to the space to where I allowed for the brand, I allowed for the partnerships, the business goals to be my validation. And authenticity has to be your validation. Like if how they treat you or how they think about you is your validation, those individuals have the thermostat to your life. They can turn you up to where you're excited. They can also be the very hands that let you down. Because what? Like it's based on what they believe in what matters to them. But when authenticity becomes your validation, the question is this something that I want to do? Is this something that I believe in? Is this a message that I want to share? And when authenticity becomes your validation, like you remove all the approval that you had been given and all the weight and all the impact that all these other things that really don't matter as much, they have less value. And so I say that to say this is that um, authenticity is now something that I'm fully walking in, something that I'm fully embracing. So you may get a professional version of me, you may get a silly, you know, the outside of office hours version of me, but you're gonna get me. And tonight was my commitment to showing up as me, and because how can I ask someone to do something that I, am not doing myself? And so, let's see, what was it? So, with that being said, I invite you all to to go on this journey with you. I want to be your coach. I want to be your mentor. I want to be your partner. I want to personally walk you through this as I walk others through. And so, if you want to start, this journey, whether it be individually or you want to, maybe you're married and you want to, you and your spouse to go through this journey together. Myself and my wife, we would love to go on this journey with you to not only start it, but also to make sure that you see it through. That is my promise. That's my guarantee that I know for a fact that this is not a pipe dream, that this is a wish and a prayer. No, this is very possible. Um, I just got was this on Facebook? Someone said, I don't think people understand how valuable these assessments and programs are. They have changed my entire leadership style and approach. To your point, it removes so much stress and anger triggers. And that's exactly what I've been sharing with you all. So if you are operating in any space without self-awareness, then you are only operating at a fraction of the impact and capacity uh, that you could potentially be. There's a lot of unlocked or untapped potential, and it can only be fully embraced when you're operating in your zone of genius, when you're operating based on how you operate best. Like when you think about that, like how could what if a monkey was judged by its ability to swim, and a fish was judged by its ability to climb trees? They would live their entire life feeling less than, feeling like, oh man, like I something is missing. And the reality is nothing that's missing. They're just being judged by the wrong standards. And for a lot of us, like we're being currently judged by the wrong standards, and it's not the ones that we need. It's not the ones that are fully aligned to us. And we have to understand how to play the game that that we're supposed to be playing, how to be in the positions that we're supposed to be in. And so I want to get you in position. I want to get you aligned. I want you to have clarity in every area of your life. And I look forward to being your coach, your mentor, your partner, your push, your motivation, encouragement, as you go from conflict to connected, as you go from lack of awareness to clarity, and as you go from um, feeling like authenticity was a dream to realizing that showing up as the version of you is the only decision that makes sense. And so I thank you all for those of you that showed up, for those of you that have shared, that have left comments or anything like that. Like, reach out to me. I have for any questions about it, or the programs or anything like that. Like, I'll be sharing a lot more, but I want you all to go with me on this journey. I'm looking forward to going on it with you as well. And so I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday night. I know for me, I am going to transition from this to watching the Shakur and Teofimo fight. And so if y'all are fight fans, then let me know. we can share some predictions about who you think is going to win. Me myself, I actually haven't said this publicly, but Team Shakur. I think Shakur is going to take it tonight. And so we'll see if that prediction stands true. If not, then Teofimo is going to win. That way I can't be wrong. And so this is the authentic me, and I'm looking forward to seeing and interacting with the authentic you. Hopefully you all have a great night. Until next time.